Ranger's Apprentice, one of my and a lot of people's favorite book series of all time. Written by John Flanagan, a writer whose career only began because he wrote an insulting poem about the chief executive where he worked. Flanagan has written a total of 23 books in the Ranger's Apprentice extended universe. In this video, I will split it into two parts, one for discussion of each book, and the second will be the science of Ranger's Apprentice. If you want to get to the second part, the time is on screen. This is one of my biggest videos yet, so it would be awesome if you could sub and comment if you want. Anyways, on with the video. The original Runes with Gorlin. The beginning, the introduction to this land that is the Ranger's Apprentice universe. This book sets up the idea of rangers and the related kingdom in such a way that it defines your experience for the rest of the series. Runes of Gorlin is mostly about the journey that Will takes to become a respected figure by Halt and surrounding characters, trying to further his development, and also sets up the next book. I also really appreciate that it stays with Will for the duration of the book, rather than straying off him constantly, which is my opinion is a nuisance for the rest of the series. It is a truly iconic beginning to a truly iconic series. Burning Bridge, possibly one of the most important for setting up characters and arcs to characters that will stand with them for the rest of the series. In this book, we meet three characters: Gillen, Halt's former apprentice, and Cassandra, Evelyn, along with Eric. For the book itself, I personally think that out of the first 4 books or so, it is the best, maybe second best. Morgoth is a good antagonist, as he seems to be unstoppable, someone that is all-powerful and all-confident. The only complaint I have, and lots of people do, about him and most of the other characters in the series, is that he's very one-sided and kind of one-dimensional. He's not boring, but I think he could be improved. In the end, the big baddie's defeated and everybody's happy, but which I think is a genius move, Will and Evelyn are being kidnapped, leaving it on a very enthralling cliffhanger. A series of unfortunate events kind of way. Book 3, The Icebound Land, is a commendable story, as it sets up one of my favorite books, Book 4. But in substance, it is not too exciting of a book. But at the same time, it is also thought through, calculated, still building on the expository feeling of the last 2 books. Building Will and Evelyn's relationship is very important for the later books, as it is their relationship with Eric. A lot of people think this book is slow, citing that it doesn't really contain much of importance, and it's pretty boring in general. I think something that helps with it being boring is the overuse of the split chapters, which I understand, but I don't really like them because I think it majorly slows the book down. The Battle of Scandia, or the Oakleaf Bearers, is a new type of storyline that we hadn't seen for the first 3 books. In the beginning of this book, I'm just glad that Halt and Will finally unite. It's been a very long time in between them last seeing each other. Book 4 is honestly probably my favorite of the first 6, just because I think the battle scene in the end is just so good. The first time I read it, I was reading it on the bus and I actually missed my stop. That either means I'm stupid or the books are good. And we all know that I'm not stupid, right? Anyways, this book is really our first time seeing a big battle outside of Arulin. Finally getting to see a battle where Will and Halt are up there working as a team in a great battle. Now, in a post of Reddit, nobody really said they liked the next 2 books, and honestly, they are kind of boring, so I'll skim through them. Alice is a weak character-wise in this book as a damsel in distress kind of character. Malcolm and the people associated are also boring characters. The whole plot kind of feels like it should be on a gloomy day, gray skies over it. The only part I like is definitely seeing Will on his own, growing out of Papa Halt's hand. It's really satisfying narratively to see him as a full-fledged ranger. The Siege of Mackinac is also kind of lame. The only reason I like it because of our romance. The rest of the book is damsel in distress scene, talk, damsel in distress, fight, damsel in distress, random scene, damsel in distress, big fight. Not much of substance. Book 7, a prequel to 5 and 6. Eric's Ransom is a very complete and good book in my opinion. Will, Evelyn, Horace are very fully fleshed out characters. Their fundamentals are very well based, and their motives and tendencies are thought out. They're getting to the point where they're reaching the top point of their kid arcs in the early stage. An interesting setting, too, very different from the snowy, forested places that we'd been earlier. Introduced to Celathan, a recurring figure who somehow becomes their friend. Don't know how, he literally kidnapped their friend, but okay. Kings of Clonmel is part of the 2-book Outsiders arc or storyline, which is a very strong plot. The Outsiders are some of my favorite villains. Yes, they are kind of one-dimensional, of course. They don't really have many other character traits other than being bad, but they're smart and cunning, leading to an interesting dilemma that Will, Horace, and Halt encounters. They jam a lot into Kings of Clonmel and Halt's peril too, making it a pretty action-packed book and little arc. It's also interesting to see Halt's backstory and his beginning. Halt's peril is definitely less enticing than Kings of Clonmel, as it is not particularly exciting. Halt gets shot, and then they all sit around and cry. Pretty much the plot, not much to say. We get to see a weaker part of Halt, I guess. I don't know. I'm just trying to be positive. Not my favorite, honestly, but I like the 8-9 plot. Book 10. Holy moly, this is a good book. This is undoubtedly one of my favorites. It honestly starts off a little slow, doing the flip between Will's group and Horace's group. But that beginning sets up the exciting plot and setting of this book. When they get together, it's suspenseful, everybody is together, so we get interactions between all of our favorite characters. The enemy is, again, as I've said many times before, a little one-dimensional, but their motive is an interesting socio-political issue. We get one of the best cases of character development in the Evelyn Ellis frenemies thing. And in the end, we get a satisfying battle, and then a freaking marriage proposal between some of our favorite characters. What can't you like about this book? Book 11. I like this book. It's a good book, a little bit random. I think that I don't really like it made in this style, but it's understandable and merited. I was so happy when both Horace and Evelyn and Will and Ellis got married. It felt like everything came together. It was a satisfying ending to the series. All in all, this book is sufficient in my opinion and is a fitting end to the series. But, wait, why? Why did book 12 just come up on the screen? There aren't any more books in this series, right? Right? No. Don't do it. No? Well, I can say that this book is just terrible, but as I think it is a Ranger's Apprentice book, I have to, again, look at the positives. I think killing off Ellis gives the series a dark tone that it, again, needed a little something that could maybe have come a little earlier, in fact. Maddie herself is a juxtaposition to the normal RA character, as she is quite dynamic, round, and evolves over the book. The mission that we go on is a little weak in structure in general, but does complete Will's arc of revenge and such. Anyways, this book series is a shining light in what writing can be. The series is so very well planned, written, and executed. The writing is wonderful in style, fluid, and complete. The characters are some of my favorite in any series. They might be a little bit one-dimensional, but it does feel like they are your friends who have been with you for many years. When Horace and Evelyn got married, it felt surreal. It felt like I was there, feeling the joy and happiness. The rest of the day, I was just thinking about how they were getting married in the book. The book are nail-biters, too. They have action and suspense that makes you want to keep on reading. These books are a goal that I, as a wannabe writer, or someone who at least wants to improve their writing skills, wants to aspire to get to the level that these books are on. This series has changed my notion towards what a book can make me feel, and I think it has influenced yours too. Now, the second part is going to be about the science of Ranger's Apprentice, along with a few bits of speculation and a rant thrown in there. An interesting question I've always had is how fast can Rangers shoot their bow? Well, keeping in mind that this is fiction and it might be not completely as the books have it, we can create an estimate. You can say that it takes a half to 2 seconds to draw, and we are going to take the absolute minimum because the Rangers appear to just be that skilled. It would probably take them 1 to 2 seconds for a shot that needs to be lined up properly, and then it could probably be released in 0.25 to 0.1 seconds. This all depends on if the shot is supposed to be rapid or if it's supposed to be calculated and precise. So at the lower end of the spectrum, for the most rapid, less accurate sequence of shots, it could probably take 1.6 seconds to do the shot, and on a higher, more accurate level, it could take 4.5 seconds or so. For a shot where they have ample time and they just need to get the shot off in a reasonable amount of time, 6 to 10 seconds would probably be the number for their skill level at least. These kinds of numbers are improbable for any person today, but as they do so much practice and it is so very important to what they do, I bet they can get it down to this kind of number. Longbows arrows take more time to go through the air than other arrows because of their weight. Still, they can go, with 90-pound draw weight, 338 feet per second. This means that it would take 3 seconds to go 1,000 feet. I don't particularly know how far rangers shoot, but that is how far they can shoot for 1,000 feet. For 500, it's 1.5 seconds. For 250, 0.75 seconds. Total, it would take about 2.3 seconds for a fast, short shot or so, 6 seconds for a mid-range, mid-speed shot, and from 9 to 13 seconds for a long, calculated shot. The Rangers would probably have extreme muscle damage from shooting this fast, because the shoulder joint is one of the weakest joints of the body. 1/3 of older people that did archery that got a rotator surgery did not heal, and as Ranger's Apprentice said many years ago, before rotator, I don't know how to pronounce that, surgeries happened, and so it would be terrible for older Rangers and their health. The most dangerous part about being a Ranger might not actually be the actual work. It would be the shoulder injuries that most of them would sustain. The suggested drawback weight for a man that is small frame or 120 to 150 pounds is 30 to 45 pounds. 90 pounds is Halt's draw weight, 80 pounds is Will's, and that is 2 times the suggested drawback weight, more than it, and he does it a lot more than a normal person, so he shouldn't be able to move his arms and shoulders because of the pain in his arms and shoulders. On to a good old-fashioned rant, and this rant will be about the whole horse thing in Book 11. So what the whole heck is this whole Ranger horse thing? So they get their horses, they replace them, and then they move on. I get that they're the same thing, and they're like the same breed and everything, but wouldn't they be blubbering all over the place? No. They just say, oh hey, there goes my horse. I think he's pretty old. I guess I'll just frickin' replace him. Wouldn't that hurt the other horse's feelings when Rangers will be able to recover? No, they just move on and act like the horse is just, their horse. And also, Tug knows exactly anything Will knows. What? It's supposed to be fantasy, but not friggin' Harry Potter or Aragon. Also, what about Halt and Crowley? What number of Abelard and such are they on? 4? Are Ranger horses just replaceable? Are they really not as important as they're supposed to be? I really hate that part in 11 a lot. In conclusion, this series is a wonderful one, something that will definitely sustain my interest and will be one of nostalgia when I grow up. Anyways, that's the end of the video, and it will probably be a long one. I'm 4 pages of script in. I hope you enjoyed it. Sub, like, comment, and see you. So I forgot to mention this, but there's a Ranger's Apprentice subreddit. If you're interested in joining, I'll put a link to the Reddit in the description. But anyways, see ya.